And yes, Lagos, it is 16 minutes gone past 5. You are tuned in to Business Hub here on Smooth 98.1. It is always a pleasure being with you. And talk about business, right? I'm sure that for every business owner, one thing you get to do or you try to do is sell or your product, your service. But how do you do that in the right way to garner new customers, new clientele? Well, I have joining me virtually. My guest is Tolagbe Martins. And yes, she is a communications coach, a business strategist, and the founder of the TM Grammar Ministry. She also helps entrepreneurs and leaders shaping their message. On the pulpit. She'll be there to tell you no. That's not how to say it. Say it with conviction. On more so, she helps to connect you with the right audience and helps with your self-confidence for those of you who might be finding it a bit difficult. So on the show today, we'll be taking a look at the power of storytelling for SMEs. That's why I said it's for businesses. More so, we'll be looking at how you can boost your sales and help you find your clients all by storytelling. You might think, do I have to? Do I need to know anything like that? Well, let my guest tell you all about it. But first off, let me welcome her in. Good evening and good to have you with me.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me today.
My absolute pleasure. As always, you know what, Lagos, you get to share your thoughts as well. Contributions, observations, hey, come through. WhatsApp is the platform 0911 That is the WhatsApp platform. You can share your thoughts with me, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you and, well, enjoying the conversation as well. Talking about conversation, like I said, as a business owner, some people think I don't need to sell myself. My product will sell myself. But does every business owner have a story that is worth hearing, that others need to find or need to hear about?
Absolutely. Because
Okay.
every business exists for a reason. You didn't start up
Mhm.
a business for fun. So there's a reason. So
Yes, there
you're
is.
filling a gap. Or even if you did it for fun, let's even assume you did it for fun. That's the reason.
Right. Mhm.
So you're filling a gap, you're
Okay.
improving on a service or a product that already exists,
Right.
or you are solving a problem.
I
Right?
agree.
And I think the interesting thing that people think there is that there has to be drama or there has to be packaging. But the truth is,
Mhm.
what and you know, it's funny because there does have to be packaging, but it's
The right kind of.
not in the way that we use the word all the time. This is about making
Ah.
your story relatable to the audience that you serve.
Mm. Okay, so it doesn't necessarily have to come with all that drama that I see on on certain platforms,
We'll
but
get there.
it should have enough drama to draw the right clientele or customers to the service that you render. I'll take that. But now let's get into the nitty-gritty. So I'm starting a business. How does one even take account of their experience in starting a business in order to even make it to the point where they're able to tell it as a story? It can be a bit difficult. I I started the business, I'm doing the business, I know how to sell the business, but having to express it in such a way that other people would understand, now that one is an art. So how do I get to that point?
Okay, so the truth is, the story starts with a spark. You have to
Okay.
pick a spark that is relatable. There is a food delivery app that is all over the news because they're doing amazing, amazing things. Okay?
All
But
right.
how did it start? It started with the founder stuck at home on a public holiday, having to pay 4 times the usual price for delivery. So
Oh.
food of 10K, let's say, you then spend
Yes.
6K to deliver the food. It's not adding up,
Mm-mm.
making
It's not
sense.
adding up.
That frustration was the seed of a business that is now handling billions in delivery. And of course, it's not just the story that got us from A to B,
Right, right.
but that story was convincing enough to and relatable enough to raise funding, to bring on partners, to bring
Right.
restaurants. The story was convincing enough to begin the momentum that has led to something today.
Awesome stuff. That is quite well, that is commendable. I like the fact that the person took a pain, so because it came from a place of pain, and they said, you know what, I'm going to make this my
And I'm going to
pain,
solve the
put it
problem.
and solve a problem. And now we have that everywhere. You're not having to spend the same amount you use in getting the product because
Exactly.
that's
And we
that
say
is
it now,
literally
and
it.
it's so obvious, but it wasn't 5 years ago, right? And this is the
Mm,
thing. And that's
right.
actually what makes the story so convincing because it's a relatable story. We can all relate to being at home, wanting to order food, delivery drama, etc., etc. You've heard of delivery riders running away with food, tasting food, eating out of
Tasting
the
the
food. Yeah,
food.
all the horror stories are there. So somebody
Yeah.
said, these are the challenges. This is the problem.
Right.
I'm going to not only improve on what exists, I'm going to fill a new gap and I'm going to
Okay.
solve it. And so fundamentally, of course, there's developers, there's technology, there's platforms, etc., etc. But when we peel everything back, there's a story.
True. True. And that is actually a remarkable story. I'm I'm still I can still imagine the person sitting there in his living room or her living room like, is this what I'm paying? But
Exactly.
right. It just pushes you from that spot to wanting to make a proper solution, and I like that. But here's the thing. Should there be just one form of storytelling when it comes to the product? And I say this, is it in terms of length, or is it or should it be from listeners? I don't know. Is it from the customers who you've serviced that should be saying this or telling the story on your behalf, or is it a combination of both? Or how do we even go about it?
Okay, so think of it like a song,
Okay.
right? Many of us will know the chorus or the bridge.
Right.
Some of us will just la 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 that song la 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 la, right? So this is the thing. We all know both the bits of it.
Right.
So think about it that way. I know that you need both or all. You
Mm,
need the short chorus that everybody remembers.
true.
Then there's a full version for deeper conversations. You need a
Mm,
15-second version for social media because that's the attention span
fun.
there. And then you need a longer one for interviews, investors, your website. Why do I say your website versus social media? Anybody who's come to your website in this day and age is
Hmm.
interested, right? So they've left
Right.
social media and come to your website. That means
Right.
they want to know more,
Most definitely.
right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So you've got to have the longer story there.
Mm, that is important. So it's not just having the story, but making it relatable for each and every person to relate to it in their own capacity. Not being bored, because that's another thing. If you're selling this to investors and it's a short span, and they're like, okay,
They're not going to put
so what
millions.
next?
They're not going to put millions for 15 seconds. They need
Mm-mm.
to see
See
exactly.
how far you go with it. Okay, so blow our minds, obviously. So you have to take it up a notch, which can be a bit of a hassle, having to sell your idea to complete strangers. And that for me is where the storytelling comes. How how do these stories actually translate to sales? Because I can sell, some people say I can sell a house, but really, selling a house is beyond selling the units. How am I going to say, okay, I'm selling a piece of furniture and it's for some family who already has something like that or has a couch, but I need to sell that couch that I've just made. How do I make them realize that you see this one is way better than that one, or you need to change it as soon as possible?
So it's funny. You said, so first of all, you said it's a hassle. And I want to correct you. It's not a hassle, it's a
Ah.
process. Okay. So that's the first thing. I'm taking exception to you saying it's a hassle. It's not a hassle, it's a process.
Okay, okay, okay.
That's the first
Stand
thing.
corrected.
Now, funny enough, I have a course that I call What Are You Selling? It's a very short course. People can just buy it and download it. And what I find interesting is because so many times, and I
Mhm.
love the couch metaphor that you gave, because it's not a couch. That's not what you're selling, right? A furniture store isn't selling furniture. And you're gonna say, Tolagbe, what on earth are you talking about? Okay. What do I mean by you're not selling a couch? You are selling movie night. You are
Right.
selling, you're selling family time. All of us on the couch laughing. You're selling memories. You might even be selling pillow fights. A few nights ago, my nieces and my children, and I have my nieces over, they took
Okay.
all the cushions of all the couches in the house and they built themselves like a fort,
Ah, yes.
right?
Oh, nice.
With blankets and cushions and everything. And that's where they spend the night. So that's a core childhood memory right there, right?
Right.
So is it still a couch?
No, that's beyond a gosh. That's a memory indeed.
Not a
That's something
couch,
to look
right?
forward to. Oh,
The
it's
home,
going to,
it's a
yes.
home, and it's the feeling of home. So when we tell you that you need to tell the story, you see, this is what I find interesting. People who sell well do
Right.
this instinctively.
Mm.
They want to sell you a car. They tell you, imagine when you drive into church first Sunday of the month, you just bring your car, park. And then the people that have been telling you to park outside before tell you to come inside that there's
My,
space. You see that we're not selling a car. We're selling revenge. We are selling status,
oh, yes,
right?
we're off the status.
This is the point, right? And that's the story. So when you identify the
Mhm.
client or the customer, you identify what motivation is going to speak to them, and then you
Mm.
build a connection. That connection is through the story because we
Mm.
buy from people we trust.
Oh, yes, that I agree. I agree. You would always
See that?
patronize the person. You always go back if the service is great. So
I mean,
I agree.
let's look at it as very basic. In markets, you have areas for particular things. So
Hmm.
the row of people selling tomatoes and peppers and stuff, it's a row, it's a whole row. But sometimes you see a queue at one place and someone else, there's nobody there.
Hmm.
It's
And you
not
keep
because she's
wondering.
doing that. It's not because she's doing that. You might find out that she blends for people according to the way they want.
Right,
You may find
right.
out it remembers details about, yes, you don't like Shombo. You want your tatashi like this. You do
Hmm.
this. This one is for your baby, doesn't have pep. These are all things, and they're part of storytelling because you are interested
Right,
in
right.
what your customer wants. And you've taken the time to find out, and you've taken the time to remember.
Mm, I like that. All right, let's take our first breather. While we're getting back in, we definitely will be touching about on a lot more things. And this time we're looking at it from the digital point of view. And that one is the one that I know that I'm waiting to talk about. The digital side? Hmm, interesting side. Lagos, don't move a muscle. Stay tuned to Smooth 98.1. Oh, yes, the people on social media and all the drama that we come with.
You guys, but how's it going so far? Am I
Oh,
answering your question?
it's actually going great. It's going great. I like that one because explain to me why someone has to dance, and yet they tell you if you're not dancing, you're not selling.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Sometimes I feel so sorry for them because, eh, oh no, it can be a whole lot of work. But are they getting the essence, or are they getting feedback from what they're selling? I guess
Yes.
so. I guess so. Oh my days. All right, let's go back in. All right, Lagos, it is 33 minutes gone past 5. You are tuned into Business Hub here on Smooth 98.1. And today, yes, we'll be talking about how you can tell stories about your business and see how you can, get garner more customers. Do you even think it is important? Well, my guest in the person of Tolagbe Martins has been shedding more insight into how you can do this in and the right way. It's not just okay. So I used the wrong word. I thought it was all about hassle. It was for me, it looked like a hassle, but apparently it's not. It's an experience. It's a process. So you just need to know how to go about it and see and structure it in such a way that whoever it is you're sharing that experience and process with will want to be there through the entire process and not go anywhere. So, but let's get into the digital space. So I know that in the digital age that we're in right now, most businesses are online, and obviously customers are in several regions. They're not just in Nigeria, they're around the globe. How does storytelling become the bedrock of actually advertising what we sell to the customers so they also know the value of our service? Because the things I see people do, sometimes I wonder, is this absolutely necessary? And I would like you to, because I know this is your space, I'd like you to please help me understand if that's the process everyone needs to go through, or if it's just for a select few.
Okay, so you are a honey farmer in Kaduna, mm?
Right.
And you want to sell your honey to customers in Port Harcourt or
Mm,
even outside of Nigeria. Your story is what will help you bridge that distance.
mm, mm.
Okay. People cannot see your farm or your hives in person, but they can watch a short video of you all in white, all the beekeepers have the vest and so on. They can
And your
see you
smoker.
pulling out the comb. They can see how fresh it is. They can see you packaging it, wrapping it with love, and sending it off straight to them. They can read
Mm,
about how grandfather taught you the trade. They can learn about how those hives have been part of your family estate for 2 generations. And what does that do? It turns a faceless online listing into something that is living, that people can access and trust.
sure. Even you just talking about that,
You're about to
that
go
has
look for a honey
like
branding. Exactly.
that is what storytelling actually does, because that person has put their personality into their business and make sure that okay. this is what I'm selling. I know that you have 1,001 people selling this, but this is for me and this is where I'm coming from. So you get to buy into that person's vision. And I like it very, very much. But whilst it is good to sell your business, as a business owner, can you be said to be a talkative about your business? Because hey, we're trying to sell a business, right? We're trying to sell a product. How does a person not become a talkative but able to sell that business to the clientele, a
So
customer?
remember that I said something earlier that a lot of what I'm talking about or sales pattern, some people do it naturally and instinctively, right? And
Okay.
therefore people think it's only a certain personality type, but it's not because it's a skill. It's just that some skills are innate or intrinsic, and some you have to acquire through practice, repetition, even coaching, right? And then you find this is the beauty again of the online space we're in, because some of you will do it with writing, some of you will do it with
Mm,
photography, visuals. Some of you will do it with customer voices and testimonials. You don't even have to be in the room. Your customers will speak for you, right? So tapping into what your skill set is,
mhm.
building the muscle of, okay, this is what I'm good at, and this is how I want to tell this story, and then picking the appropriate medium for it. The best product with shoddy photography is not going to go anywhere, is it?
Mm-mm.
So
Mm-mm.
so you see that it's all tied together, and therefore, where you may have, as part of maturing, one of the things we do is we learn to play to our strengths and to
I agree.
downplay weaknesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to be cho like me to say, like, see, all of those of us who, when we were in school and they used to write the noisemakers list,
Name the
it's
noise makers.
natural that we will end up where we are. But then you people that you are quiet, okay, so what are you good at? Are you good at
Right.
writing? Are you good at photography? I have a coaching client who's very retiring and shy, but we've got her doing voiceovers to her videos, right? Because therefore she doesn't have to show her face, she doesn't have to dance, she can just, have, pitch video of
What
production
she's done, yeah.
while her voice is telling the
The
story. So
story.
she's written a script and she's telling the story. That's actually the beauty for me of the digital era, because you can choose your lane and really, really like occupy it and make the best of it.
I like that. I like that very much. But here's the thing. Well, you've touched on that a bit. So for those who do not have the knowledge, who can't deliver properly, how do they outsource it? Because yes, I know it can be outsourced, but how do they go about it? For those who don't even have an idea, they want to tell a story, they want to share knowledge about the business, but they're not sure how to go about it. They've tried, probably it's not good enough. That's why they're not getting the right clientele or customers coming back. How do they start to outsource their
Okay,
storytelling?
okay, so you can't outsource in the truest sense of the word, because you cannot hand over the soul of your business. You know the problem that you were trying to solve. You know the gap that you were trying to fill. But here's
Mm-hmm.
what you can do. You can
Mm-hmm.
work with a coach. You can work with a copywriter.
Mm-hmm.
You can even work with a content creator to help craft
Mm,
and deliver your story. But you
okay.
still need to own the truth and the heart of it. You
I
can't,
like
that cannot belong to anyone else.
I
You
like
know
that.
what you're trying to solve. You know the frustration that has led to this passion,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore is propelling you. Only you know that, right? So it's like, think of these as tools that will help you to amplify. So use people to help you refine the story. You can use people to help you perfect the story. You can use people to help you amplify the story. But the story is yours.
The story is yours. I like. Okay. Now that I know that I own the story, let's talk about gender lines.
No, because we are the same gender, so they're going to say that. That's why we are talking about it like. But no problem.
So,
Let's go there.
well, I don't know, but yes, it kind of feels like that in a sense. But that's why I said gender lines because I don't know. Do female or male business owners tend to be more in tune with storytelling about their businesses? I was going to say, I already know the answer. What? I don't know if that's actually true, seeing that sometimes it takes a lot of push for certain brands to be out there. A certain gender likes perfection, while the other gender will say, you know what, let me start like this. Even if I make mistake, I will try another person. But
Yeah.
let the expert.
I'm going to choose my words very carefully. And
You know.
what I have noticed, the trends that I have observed. I've
Okay.
observed women will often talk about the why, right? Personalize the journey.
Okay.
Okay. Men may focus more on the product or the result. Okay.
Right.
Women might often share the behind the scenes details, how they're juggling everything. And men will just say, these are my growth metrics, these are my partnerships. And the truth is that both approaches work.
Right.
But the best results will come when you blend both approaches together. And that is regardless of gender.
Okay.
If something is all about output, remember, when we buy a feeling or a sensation or a memory, right?
Yes.
If something is too focused on the feelings or the sensation and is not taking into account price, options, competition, so on and so forth, it's also not going to hit. So the truth is, and this is funny because as far as I'm concerned, it's a metaphor for life, because the truth is everything is best as a blend. Both approaches, both sides. That's
I
why
agree.
places benefit from both genders, projects. So often you'll see a product, and it's struggling in the market. And when you scratch the layers, you find out that the room that it was developed in didn't have enough perspectives in the room.
That's and that is a valid fact. That in itself is a valid fact. Wealth of knowledge coming through. And I hope Lagos, you are taking this in. I'm doing my own. Don't worry. My virtual assistant is doing the work and taking all the notes because I need to go back. I know I'm going to pay for school, but okay. It's good to still have these nuggets and be able to reflect on them. So before I let you go, so as a small business owner who's trying to get into this space, who's trying to sell the business, what are the skill sets that they need to have?
Okay, so more need to, so just I want to leave us with like some very practical things, right? So that hopefully people can think of things in a relatable way. So the first thing is you don't sell X, okay? What you do, help Y with Z.
Mm,
I'm not saying
right.
this. I'm helping
Yes.
you do this. That's so what are you helping me with? What are you solving for? That is what you have to lead with, right?
Okay.
But okay, that's an abstract, relatively abstract concept. Let's dial it back. You're a small chops vendor. Okay, let's actually
Ah,
be very practical.
right.
I started making this puff puff from my mother's special recipe,
Recipe. Mm,
right? My mother was making it to pay my university fees.
okay. And that will resonate more.
But that's not all. Puff puff is joy. It's a delicious mouthful, right? So
Yes.
I'm bringing joy to your special event one bite at a time. Okay? So it's not just because my puff puff is delicious, it's also because you have bought into my journey. Look how far I've come, right?
Right.
So that's one example. Because, and why am I framing it that way? Because puff-puff is not a necessity. So we have to frame it in this way. Okay.
Right.
Let's think of a beauty and wellness brand, skincare. The founder had chronic skin issues and just couldn't find products that worked. So she went back, did all her research, found some traditional herbs that were being used, and has refined them using modern scientific techniques. And so now it's formulated for skin like ours, for weather like ours.
Right.
What's going to happen? People will repeat that story and people will buy in.
Most
And
definitely. And that business
like
grows.
ours, weather like ours, right?
Mm.
Because there's something happening right now where which we call global. And it's, it's an amalgamation of the word global and the word
And
local.
local.
And what are we saying? So in the beauty and wellness example, so global best practice, the lab, the hygiene, the
Right.
testing, and so on. But the local herbs and oil and essences that our grandmothers used.
Mm.
Huh. You tie
So
them to tell a story. So this I've just given like examples of how do you tell
how
the,
it
and a lot of it is just you sitting down and mining your why. Why did you start? What were you trying to solve?
mm, right. That is actually absolutely, absolutely important. Just don't just focus on the products. Why are you doing this? What exactly is your push? And I like that. Well, I would love to continue. I have lots of more personal questions that could, put in there and keep going. But as we know, time is never our friend. But how can Lagos listeners or the world, yes, global, local,
Local. Yes.
local, how can they reach out to you if they need guidance, they need help?
So we're
What do
on
they
all
do?
social as TM Grammar, right?
Okay.
Uh, yes. But at the end of the day, right? Your logo is your handshake. Your story is your conversation. And in the crowded market, it's a conversation that keeps people coming back.
Mm, what's a marble? What a marvel. Lagos. Like I said, if you were not taking notes, I can't help you in that respect. But what I can do for you is remind you that after this, you can always go back to YouTube and catch up on Business Hub today so you can learn a whole lot more if you weren't able to whilst we're having the program. But this is how we're drawn today on Business Hub. Thank you so much, Tolagbe Martins, for all that insight. It's an amazing session that we've had this evening. Like I said, can't wait to have you back again. Yes, I'm
Anytime.
Oliver Twist.
Anytime.
Eh, can't stop having great conversations, especially if it's something that's going to